What is the surprising similarity between selling and dating, specifically related to the challenges that we face in both of these, why technology really hasn't delivered on our higher expectations in helping us to improve both, and the surprisingly simple solutions. What are the mistakes that we have to avoid, and what can we do to dramatically improve both selling and dating? And by improving, I mean reducing the sales cycles, increasing the conversion rates, and hopefully securing higher renewal rates. Technology has offered a lot. We think about both selling and dating. There's been a lot of advancements in apps that can help us to match with our ideal customer out there, and with, once we have matched them, hopefully to engage us in a conversation and interaction so we can close more sales or get on more deals. But they really have only worked for the simpler cases when it comes to selling and dating. What do I mean by that? Is that when you are selling business to consumer, you generally are dealing with one decision maker, maybe two. Maybe they have to consult a partner or a friend to just confirm it. Same with dating. One decision maker, maybe they have to consult their best friend or trusted advisor to check it out. But that's when dating is just really, you just want to go on a date, or it's maybe just a hookup. It's a very much simpler problem to solve, both in terms of finding the right person and closing the deal. The reality that we face in the real world is more closer to B2B selling, business to business selling. There's almost never just one decision maker. Not only there are often quite a few decision makers that you have to get yeses from, and any one of them can say no and kill the deal, but there's also a decision process that you have to go through. The same when you are switching away from just trying to date somebody or have a hookup to finding a life partner. More decision makers on their side that you have to get confirmed yeses, no, and no nos from, but also a decision making process that probably they've had some bad experiences that you have to go through. So that's why these apps and AI has not really helped a lot. So apps like social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube has really helped a lot if we are dealing with those simple cases, selling direct to a consumer, to find our target audience, to put us in front of them, and hopefully with a great, copywriting, sharing exactly what the problem is, why none of the alternatives have worked, why our solution is the best, we can close a lot of deals. But as soon as we go to B2B, it really doesn't work. So I try to learn from experiments. We don't learn from experience, we learn from experiments. So how can we learn from experiments? Well, you can learn from your own experiments. We all have cases where it somehow just everything fell into place. It was the best case scenario, both in terms of selling to a client, but maybe also finding a potential partner to go on a date with. It was the best case scenario. But we also have those bad experiences that was the worst case. Well, we can learn from both the best case, what are the conditions that made that possible, and we can learn from the worst case, what do we definitely have to avoid. But we can also learn from other people's experiences, their best case and worst case. So here is what I've learned over the last couple of weeks, just to try and see what can I really learn from my own experiments in the past and from other people's experiments. And for all those that were involved in either me selling to them or dating them, please don't take offense when I refer to you as an experiment. You're all special. I learned a tremendous amount from you. So let's start. So I'm going to share with you the fundamental mistake that I think we make, and then what seems to be a much better alternative, a solution. So let's start off with number one. The mistake that we make in both selling and dating is we might find ourselves in a situation where we've become a little bit desperate, and any yes is a good customer or a good date. That's never a good position to be in. You're just gonna be disappointed, spread yourself thin, invest a lot, and then you find out that they don't need you or want you. You are really looking for the dream customer, the dream partner that both want and need you. That is the perfect match for you. So that's the first one. Stop thinking any customer or date that says yes is a good one. Start thinking only yeses from your dream customer or partner is a good one. Second one is stop pushing. When we push our marketing and selling, it immediately creates resistance. How can we avoid the resistance? is you find some way of converting the push into a pull. So maybe you're going out there, you're sharing about your product and services, how it's worked for other customers, and you ask people to contact you if they think there's a good match. Suddenly it's a pull. They contact you rather than you are contacting them. So rather than push, go for a pull. The third one, and this is something that I often make a mistake, I think it's to do with probably if you are not absolutely confident that you can absolutely knock it out of the park, that your product and services will absolutely be a perfect fit, especially when you've made number one mistake. It's a very real fear that you should have, is that we talk too much. We should listen more, right? When I get nervous in front of a customer or on a date, I tend to talk way too much. I should do more listening. We should all do more listening. What should we listen for? We should listen not only to understand what are their fears and desires, what are their goals, what's the problems that they're having that they need help with, but we should also listen to what are the potential reasons why they haven't tried to solve this problem by buying your product or service in the past, or maybe going out on dates with somebody like you. And that takes us into the fourth type of mistake that we make, is we often show our product or service too soon, or we show ourselves too soon. What we really should be showing is not the product or service, but a completely structured offer, an irresistible offer. So how do we get to an irresistible offer? The difference between the product and the offering is simply the fact that the offer contains all those elements and sometimes guarantees that will reduce the fear of loss, effort, or risk to adopt your solution or to go and try out a relationship with you. And then the fifth one, the last one, which I realize that we all have a tendency to do this, is when you're in that selling mode, when you're in that dating mode and you're trying to impress them, we often overpromise. They expect it, and that can cause a no when actually you could have been a really good fit. But not only we make the mistake of overpromising, by the time that we do get a yes from them, we then don't have the capacity or bandwidth to over-deliver, and we end up under-delivering when we go off to find our next customer, maybe find the next date. What we really should be doing is under-promising, creating realistic expectations, and then over-delivering. So rather than doing the bare minimum, once they've said yes, to ensure that we tick off all the boxes, we absolutely do everything that we can, and we try to sustain that. So I hope that was useful. It was, to me, a surprise. Maybe it shouldn't have been such a surprise to see how much similarities there are between selling and dating, that we end up not living up to the expectations that technology and AI has created to solve these problems. They've helped a lot, but only for the simpler cases, when you're dealing with one decision maker and maybe one product or service, rather than with multiple decision makers, a complex decision making process, and maybe a bundle of product or services to really solve, like we are offering ourselves as a bundle. I am doing a mini course, mini masterclass tomorrow, and I'm going to be sharing much more about some of the deeper lessons that I've learned in this process, both from my own experiences or experiments and those of some of the top out in the industry. And I've invited one of the top B2B salespeople in the world, somebody that actually shared quite a bit of my journey. They studied and learned about theory of constraints during university, and then joined a company, in his case, joined i2 Technologies, where they became so good at selling B2B that they got an award for the best sales team in the world on B2B selling. So Daniel is going to be joining me for this mini masterclass. I'll include the registration details in the link below. I hope to see you there.